Hi, this is Dr. Martha Lucas with,
Rebecca Ziegler.
and we are here with your at-home medicine bowl. It's a podcast that we started at the beginning of the pandemic in 2020. And because we felt like people just need some support. We support people already. We have physical practices. I do Chinese medicine, acupressure, acupoint, essential oil therapy, and Reiki. And Rebecca does
structural yoga therapy, cranial sacral therapy, trauma sensitive yoga, trauma touch therapy, to name a few.
And we work together with people to unravel the energetic patterns that are caused by trauma. So in the beginning of our podcast, we thought, people are being traumatized every day. I mean, it's just going on and worry and fear. So here we are. And today we're going to talk about how much some of us have been sitting at home since the pandemic because we're working from home instead of at work.
So there's none of that. Let me walk myself into a building, out of a building, walk around, and so on. So basically we are in a position of seated, but not necessarily a seated posture, which is uplifting. And it is easy, if one is at their computer or whatever we are doing, to have a slump. So it's this. You can see how the shoulders round a little bit and the chest is in. There's a point right about the navel that if we are not lengthening up through the spine, and I'm seated, of course, now, but the sits bones press down and the crown lifts up. If we were this all the time, we would have this expansiveness in through the pectoral muscles, the chest muscles, and you could feel your shoulder blades and this opening in the back and a full breath happening where the breath goes even deeper than the chest area and the lungs fill up. We have a tendency to kind of cave in right out about the navel. So when that happens, we're actually compressing in through the hips. So the entire body is in a position of, well, if you've been at a computer way too long, or even long enough, freeze. Mm-hmm. And when we freeze, this also happens. So I'm contracting around the neck muscles, and then we'll go, oh my goodness, I wonder why I feel sometimes a headache, sometimes the jaw, because we're also holding. So yes, this is what many of us have been experiencing.
And in my physical medicine practices, where people are still coming for acupuncture, I've had people say that. They're exactly with their neck. They're either having more headaches, more shoulder pain, or exactly what you said. They point to the back of their neck and just say, oh my gosh, I'm so tight back here. Now, a few years ago, there became known a diagnosis called eye neck, small eye neck. So like iPad, iPhone, eye neck, because of the way people are holding their necks to look at their phones, mainly is why they called it eye neck. But Rebecca is exactly right. We are, unless we somehow or other at home got the same ergonomically correct furniture that maybe we used to have at our office, we are just trying to, like one of my daughter-in-law works at her kitchen table to teach school. So then you are going to have those sorts of syndromes that Rebecca was talking about.
So even if you're not standing up, you can take your hands like this, put the fingers together, put them behind your head. So right where this skull kind of bends back, I won't go into all the cervical numbers or names because it's really irrelevant. What we're wanting to show you, both Dr. Martha and myself, are techniques that you don't have to be skilled in a certain vocabulary to be able to understand and put into practice. So fingers interlocked, and then put them back here behind the skull. And then as if you were going to rest your head, because you are going to rest your head back into the skull. Take a few breaths here. Let the breath drop down. And then with each, it's as if you had a wonderful soft pillow behind your head. So part of it is the breath, relaxing you, and part of it is the neck coming out of a forward chin posture.
And I didn't do it because I want you guys to watch Rebecca while she's doing it, or listen to her carefully, so that if you're listening to this on Anchor or somewhere like Spotify, you still can understand what it is, that little bit of exercise or movement that's going to help your neck feel better.
So what I can do now, if Dr. Martha would be the person to move through this, I will explain how to do it while she is making the gestures or the movements. So bringing her hands up and together, interlock the fingers, and the palms are facing forward if that's comfortable, or if it isn't for you, you can unlock the fingers where they're interlocked and put those behind your head first, then interlock the fingers behind the skull. So placing the hands behind the skull, interlocking the fingers, and then let your breath drop down. And on your exhale, gentle exhale, let the back of your skull resting into your palms and fingers, just as if you were letting the back of your head rest onto a very comfortable pillow. With each inhale, you can feel your body filling up with all that good prana, chi, energy, oxygen. And on the exhale, let the back of your head rest into your fingers, into those interlocked fingers. And maybe 2 or 3, 4 times like that. And then let go of the fingers, interlocked fingers, bringing the arms down at your side or at the table.
Good. Yeah, that really, it makes you super aware of how tight your neck is, I can tell you right now. So how many times a day would you recommend we do something like that?
Well, I would recommend, if you are, and that's the reason I'm not suggesting multiple times doing it, 3 or 4 times with your breath. It does not take that long for this sympathetic, the movement part of us that we want to be up and doing, into a parasympathetic, which is the rest and digest. So when you can feel the shoulders begin to lift up, and then you can lift up sort of the shoulder muscles begin to lift up and tighten, start going towards your ears, and you can feel the elbows beginning to lock, and you can, as your hands are on a keyboard, or even at a desk writing with old-fashioned way of pens and pencils, but you could be an artist and might be doing that all the time anyway, or with brushes. So when that movement happens, when that tightening of the shoulders happens, when you can feel that lifting up, then, so let's say it's every hour. When you can refresh yourself, it's like we do this all the time. We refresh our feeds, right?
Right.
We go to social media. Are we not refreshing our feeds?
Right.
And so this is really refreshing yourself. It's getting oxygen in. It's helping and the reason I have you interlock the fingers, rather, even if it's interlocking the fingers as they're behind the skull. The reason I have you do that is because if you are to just tilt that head back, if the muscles are already tight, you don't want anything to lock up. Right. And so it's that ease of being able to rest into.
Yes.
That helps the neck muscles to let.
Totally. You can totally rest. Or when we feel ourselves start to go like this, like Rebecca was saying in the beginning of the podcast, that we start to kind of cave ourselves in, then that would be a time that you would want to do that exercise to just let your neck have a rest.
Yes, right about at the area where a belt buckle would be, from anywhere about an inch above the navel to about an inch or so below the navel, right in that belt buckle area. When you feel yourself creasing and moving forward and your chest is moving closer to your thighs, that's an exaggeration to some sort, but that contraction, that's when you want to lift yourself up of the schlump. So de-schlump yourself.
There we go. That's our information and advice for today. So if you have any questions or you need to get in contact with one of us for further support, we are each available by email. My email address is drmlucas@acupuncturewoman.com. That's drmlucas@acupuncturewoman.com.
And you can reach me, Rebecca Ziegler, at RAZ as in zebra, IEGLER.SYT @gmail.com.
And we are going to close with our usual Your At Home Medicine Bowl closing.
Yes. Left hand on your heart, fingers outspread or just gently resting, and the right on top of the left. So you're not at a spiritual heart here, although our spiritual hearts are connected to our physical hearts, but it's not about a chakra, an energy point. It's about feeling the presence of your most beautiful beating hearts. So gently let your hands rest in where you can feel your heartbeat. And repeat after me, please. With great respect and love.
With great respect and love.
I honor my heart.
I honor my heart.
My inner teacher.
My inner teacher.
And it is after that first honoring of your own most beautiful sacred heart that from there you're able to give that gift out to others. Thank you.
All right. Thank you and take care.